What is up, YouTube? This is your host, Ranee B, here to spill that homicidal tea. And today's blend of tea that we are spilling around these parts is a blend of a flowery sweetness cut down by a bitter, violent finish. Please like and subscribe and always share. I'll try not to have a 1,000-minute intro and just dive right into it. This is the solved homicide case of Courtney Wilkes. Remember what 15 was like? Oh my gosh, I sure do. I remember being on the edge of learning how to really use makeup and trying extremely unsuccessfully to get boys to notice me. But it was a fun time. It was a transcendental voyage of leaving the innocence of childhood behind while traversing over to the bitter solace of adulthood. But you know, whatever. Not old enough to know better, but old enough to think that you definitely do. Courtney Wilkes was definitely one of these. She was a 15-year-old fun-loving girl with a bright future. She was a junior Dr. Dolittle. She had a way with animals that would make Grizzly Adams seem like a big game hunter. I mean, animals loved her and her energy. She loved them back as much, probably more, to be honest. Not just empathetic, she was also competitive. She was a standout soccer player at Toombs County High School, and at TCHS, she was also active in her community's FFA, Future Farmers of America. That's mostly in the South, but whatever. And that's in America. I don't know what y'all do over there across the pond. Courtney was also a young outdoor enthusiast that was described by everyone as a social butterfly who never met a stranger. She had jokes and a smile for anybody that looked her way. Courtney and her family, they went to Seagrove Beach on holiday during the summer of 2011. Seagrove Beach is it's on Florida's Gulf Coast. It's incredibly beautiful, and it's known to be a very safe place to take the family to. Seagrove Beach is perfect for nature lovers looking for an authentic retreat and low-key coastal environment. Families, they could do canoeing, kayaking, swimming, making new friends in this highly rated vacation destination. I promise that they're not a sponsor. Courtney had befriended a young man by the name of Steve, who would, let her know that he was young as well, because she wasn't very old, but, he, led her to believe that he was young, and, they would just hang out for a little bit. So she wanted to go for a walk with him, and her parents were like, fine. They knew that this was a time that they had to start giving her her independence and her privacy. So it was, it was kind of a stretch for both of them, her to go and just kind of hang out with a boy, and then her parents to let go enough to trust her to be able to afford her that privacy that she desperately needed to become independent. Well, her parents became concerned once that she didn't come home after a few hours. Now, erring on the side of caution, her parents contacted local police and tried to locate the pair. In gathering information about the young man that she was last seen with, police found that Stephen Causey had been kicked out of his mother's home and had been living in the woods near the Beachcrest condominiums that her family had been staying at on vacation. Now, who is this Causey kid? First of all, he's not a kid. He told everybody, okay, can't remember what it was now. Shit.
Daddy, chill.
He told everyone that he was much younger than he was when he was actually around 21 years old. This is exactly what detectives figured that he did when he befriended Courtney and her family. After a search of the area that Courtney had told her family that she would be walking, a gruesome and horrific discovery was made. The lifeless body of young Courtney Wilkes was found discarded in the nature trails. Detectives said that the teen was killed by blunt force trauma, but that there was also evidence of a struggle, so Courtney did not go down without a fight. Go girl. A friend of the suspect said that Cozy's parents, and I don't know how to pronounce his last name, and I don't care, so I'm going to call him Cozy. I should call him Cozy or Cooter. I don't know. Anyway, I just hate that guy. Anyway, friends of the suspect, they said that his parents had kicked him out of his house, located about an hour away from Pensacola. Well, after being kicked out, Stephen was homeless, and he resorted to sleeping along the beach access centers and in public parks and stuff. Well, following up on this information, combined with the information from her parents, detectives located and arrested Cozy easily at an abandoned lot. That's where he had set up camp for the night. Nice. He was also taken into custody, surprisingly without incident. Now, it's really weird. When you think of killers, you think people that look like this. or this. It's strange that you don't expect people who look like this, or this, or this, to be killers. Well, these pics are friends of mine, by the way. Well, all of them are, except for one. This guy. This is Steve Cozy, whatever, Cooter. He doesn't have a particular distant look or vacancy in his eyes that would lead you to think that he was a monster, but he seemed like, okay, no lie, he seems like the dorky guy at a bar that would buy you endless drinks, thinking that he may have a chance of scoring with you, but he never would. I mean, I don't know any bars that cater to young teen girls, because this is what he openly vocalized, his sexually charged feelings about young girls, often making people feel uncomfortable around him. In his violent and often shared fantasies, he spoke of having ultimate control over young girls who were weaker than him. Well, unfortunately, he actually fulfilled this fantasy, and it was with Courtney Wilkes. But remember, Wilkes was not a consenting adult. She was 15 fucking years old. The sheriff says that Cozy showed no remorse and is even seen smiling in his fucking mugshot. Jesus, I'm so glad I'm not monetized yet, because I can cuss like there's no tomorrow. Anyway, officials say that he violently killed the 15-year-old within just 500 yards from where she was staying with her family. I mean, this disgusting, vile creature, while in custody, actually entered a plea of not guilty on the charges of first-degree murder, sexual battery, armed kidnapping, and child abuse. After getting Cozy Cooter in the system and setting bail at zero, boo, Walton County Sheriff Michael Atkinson, oh, learn his name. He's wonderful. He's going to be just so awesome in this story. Anyway, he said in a news conference that he was confident that Cozy was the man responsible for Courtney's murder. Atkinson went on saying, I'm going to be honest with you, that was his booking picture. This one. I mean, I think it says everything you need to say about him. I mean, it's clear that Cozy Cooter is an individual with evil in his heart. Now, this is from a sheriff's deputy. This is a guy that's already gone through homicide. He's gone through crimes against a person. He's seen the worst of the worst. And listen, it's bad whenever he thinks you're awful. Anyway, as you can imagine, the trial was a damn circus. And the least that this piece of shit could have done is just spare the family a lengthy trial. But of course he didn't. Thankfully, there was no amount of begging or attempts at painting Steve as a normal person that just made a mistake in the heat of the moment that the defense could do. There was this man that claimed to have once been considered Steve's best friend, and he told the court that on the night of the alleged, at this point murder, it was alleged because they hadn't found a guilty plea yet, Steve came to this friend's of his aunt's house and confessed to killing a girl and leaving her body in the nature preserve. He also stated that he finished her off with a large stick from a tree. I think that instead of lethal injection, we should just be able to beat him with a stick. Anyway.
No.
Electric chair.
That's a good idea, too. Evidence at the scene corroborated that statement. I mean, thank God that, the stupid defense's attempts of weaseling out a responsibility. I mean, the jury saw right through it. And again, thank God they found this scumbag guilty. An 8-woman, 4-man jury, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, deliberated for only 2 hours before they found Cozy Cooter or whatever, 23 now at the time of his trial, guilty of first-degree premeditated murder, sexual battery, aggravated child abuse, and kidnapping. Love it. Well, the Wilkes family and supporters, little Courtney, it's amazing how many people grew to love this girl through the media. They were all in the courtroom there, and they were there when that verdict was read. Now, following the instructions from Walton County Circuit Judge Kelvin Wells, they waited until the jury left before expressing a dizzying array of emotions, from relief to grief to acceptance to their new reality, like just a new way to experience their life without their daughter, and knowing that the person responsible for it is going to actually face justice. Several people stopped on the way out of the courtroom to embrace Sheriff Mike Atkinson. I love this guy. I find him so extremely admirable because he didn't hold back his tears. He was emotional. These cops, they get so attached to these cases, and I'm sure it takes a huge toll on these guys. And it's nice to see that they finally get that little bit of closure. After the courtroom emptied, Sheriff Atkinson stated to the media, "My thoughts and prayers are with the Wilkes family." And he continued on saying that, "I hate for them to have had to go through this." But it wasn't over yet. That was just the trial. There's still the penalty phase that's left. Defense attorney, again, I'm not good with these last names, and I don't really care, because he's representing scumbags, so they both can fuck off. Kypreos. Kyprios, that's what we're going to say. Defense attorney Kyprios, Cooter's defense attorney, tried to raise doubts that Wilkes' murder had not been as brutal as the prosecution made it appear. Now you know why I don't care about his last name. And he even questioned whether the blood-covered piece of wood found at the scene, described by Cozy to his little friend, if that really was the one that had beaten the girl. Was that even indeed the murder weapon? Oh, fuck you, dude. I hate these people. Anyway, but whenever they're grasping for straws that bad, kind of makes you feel good. At some point in time, we have got to get away from the theatrics and down to hard evidence, this Kyprios, whatever guy said. Hard evidence? I mean, dude, what is harder than a fucking blood-soaked piece of wood found at the scene with the victim's DNA on it? On rebuttal, Elmore, for the prosecution, assured the jury with just a few words that he said they don't have to present anything more. He said, you've heard the evidence already. You've heard the arguments. If there's reasonable doubt, it'll find you. Seek the truth.
And the truth shall set you free.
Thank you, Jim. It sure does. Well, again, the jury came through. They voted 12-0 in favor of the death penalty. Okay, well, no, Cozy Cooter, he sure looked shocked after that jury announced that each member believed that he should be executed. Like, went down the line. Do you want him dead? Do you want him dead? Do you want him dead? Yep. Yeah, exactly. We all want you dead. Go ahead and take care of it yourself. Save us some taxpayer dollars. As expected, in such a hard decision, different jurors, they were crying. Because, nobody wants to condemn anybody to death. Except for me, maybe. But after the recommendations was read by the court clerk, just the shock and awe from everybody. When they were all polled, they said they all agreed with the death penalty as punishment for Cozy. Because, he had lacked any sort of remorse. And so that bolstered their decision. They also said they won't be done by lethal injection. Personally,
Electric chair.
Again, she's so good at saying what I'm thinking. Anyway, an exhausted Elmore said that he was comfortable that the jury had made the right decision. Quote, the world was a better place with Courtney Wilkes in it, he said. And the world would be a better place with Stephen Cozy removed from it. I like this guy. Anyway, well, the taxpayers will now have to pay to keep this piece of garbage alive while he submits his appeals. Hopefully, sooner than later, we can learn that this idiot is gone from this world. The Wilkes family gets to continue with their own life sentences. The one that they never even asked for nor deserved. They started a life sentence the moment they felt something off in their gut about their daughter being gone for too long that evening. And since that very moment, their existence is never going to be the same. Ever. On the family property close to the pets that she once adored, Courtney was giving her final resting place. On her tombstone, it has a reference to Joshua 1:9. Remember, I told you to be brave and strong, the text says. The Lord, your God, will be with you wherever you go, so don't be frightened. Now, in my belief system, with all the animals that she had helped during her time on Earth and all the new friends that she's made on the other side, she's not alone, not even close. And just bear with me. And if this ain't your bag, just go ahead and skip it. I don't care. I'm sure that she's taken that exact walk that she took that fateful night, but this time she had her Lord and Savior Jesus Christ with her, no longer afraid, no longer hurting, at absolute peace. Now, on June 16th, 2011, that's when Courtney was taken from this world. But for her mother, losing her daughter was the beginning of a period of spiritual vulnerability that would lead her on a journey of anger, grief, and absolution of her feelings of hatred for her own questions for God. Tony, her mother, put pen to paper and wrote a book about her voyage to hell and back. She explains in intricate details that, what comes along with something as shocking as losing a daughter. Tony was raised in the church, and being a daughter of a pastor, she held herself to a standard that was almost impossible to maintain during this sort of tragedy. Tony leads people through this crisis, and she helps them along the way. It's so awesome to see someone take tragedy and that's so affected by such hardship, be able to look into their own past and take that grief and make it into strength for others, for strangers, to help them go through similar things. That's a hero for you. Thank you, Tony, for being that beacon of light for so many people that are very much lost in darkness. Well, that is it for this video. Have you guys ever heard of this one before? This is another one. I have no idea where it came from. I have no clue. So I guess Courtney was just bored. Maybe she was talking to my dog that just passed. You know what I mean? She's like, Biscuit ran up to her and she was like, your mom does true crime. Let's go talk to her. And then somebody whispered something while I was sleeping, and next thing you knew, I was Googling it. Who knows? But anyway, I have, like I said, I have no idea where it came from, but I'm glad it did, because it was really nice to get to know Courtney, and even better knowing that someday Steve, he'll get to sit on Sparky one day, and we can be rid of one more asshole. Until the next video, try not to murder anyone. And if you do, no, there's not going to be if you do. Just don't. And if you, no, like I said, no if, just don't. Please don't. And if, we'll see you later. Daddy, chill.
What the hell is even that?